Welcome back to our Spark learning session. Today we'll be discussing about date and timestamps. In the real world, you will often find yourself working with time and date information. Let's walk through some ways you can deal with it. Let me start by importing the PySpark to our environment and starting a session. Let me run this. It works. Now let me import some of the packages that is necessary for our purposes. We're going to import from PySpark SQL package. We can import some functions such as day of month, hour, day of year, month, year, week of year, format, number, date format. Now we should start a session for our programming. Let's name it a Spark, and it's a Spark session. It's going to be a Spark session dot builder dot app name, and let's call it dates and get or create. What's wrong? What went wrong here? There's a spelling mistake here, because of which is causing the error. We corrected the mistake. Now we need to load the data we want to work with. Let's name that data as a data frame df spark. We'll read .csv and we'll name it apple stock csv as a file name we want to import, and then we'll assume that it has a header in it, and also we'll infer the schema on read. The schema is not defined for this file. We are interpreting as we read it. This is called schema on read, and that's the main concept behind extract, load, and transform. Now we're going to run this thing. As the second step, we're going to inspect this file, this data frame we just created, and we'll extract the two columns from here. Date open and see what's inside. Just inspecting, doing the cursory exploded data analysis, and we see that it has a date YYYMMDD, and open is a opening price of stock, Apple stock. Now we want to use the several functions we just imported in earlier step, such as day of the month. Let's use day of the month on this data set because we want to learn it, right? Okay, so we are using that here, day of the month, day of the month, date, and show. We want to see what's inside this date if we use a day of the month on top of it. So when we apply day of the month on top of the date, it extracts the date value from a date, date day of the month from the date and presents that to you. Now we want to see the hour, and I assume since these are all only date and all hours have been truncated to 0. Now let's see if my assumption is correct. Hour, show. When we do this, what happens? One more new thing, it seems that we don't need to put the data frame here inside this hour function. We can just put the date because it is being called after it is being called within data frame, so we don't need to mention twice. We can say the date, and all hours are 0 as we suspected. Next step, we'll extract the month, select month, data frame. We don't need to do data frame here because date is a column of the data frame from which we are typing after. Because of that, we don't need to do write data frame. It is only showing 20 rows, not showing all of them. And the month matches to what we have. For the last row, we have 2010 February 1. And for the last row, we have February. Therefore, it matches to what the date is. As the last step, we want to use the year function, which we want to use. Let's use year function as well. Let me copy and paste this thing so it's a bit more faster. We can do year Now we have the year. In daily use cases, we may want to know the average closing price per year. How do we do this? We do this by first grouping the data by year. Let's do it. We'll start with data frame and adding a year column to it. Year, and let's add a year column to it. Year. We need to show this to see what's actually inside it. It should be date, not year, because there's nothing column like a year there, right? Because of which we got that error. Made that correction. Moving forward, we have what we need. At the next step, we want to store this into a certain variable. New data frame. Data frame. We have a new data frame here, and we don't want to show it right here. We just want to show it later. New data frame, show. There you go. As a next step, we want to do group by. As a next step, we want to do the group by based on year. We'll do new df group by year column. And what we do group by, and what's the analytical function we're going to use for group by? We'll use mean. And once we do that, we'll show it so that we can see what's doing. Now what we have, what we need. Next step, we want to select. We want to select only year and average close. We are not concerned with anything else, because that was the initial problem statement was. We want to focus on only that. Group by year We're going to group by year and mean, and select only few columns that we are interested in, which are year and average close, based upon our problem statement, and we'll see what's inside it. Just to There you go. We have what we need. Now, as the next step, we want to store that into certain variable data frame. Let's store that into result, and we'll copy and paste it from above. And we'll see what's inside this result data frame. And what we have is it's a two columns, year and average close, and average close seems to be in a lot of decimals in it. That needs to be formatted. Let's start by formatting it. Let's start with a new select statement, and we want to format that result dot select year. This is what we need as the first column, and the second column we will use a format number as the second column, and then we'll just reference the function or column name that we are interested in and give it a new name. We'll first try to truncate to the two decimal places dot alias, and second is going to be average closing price. That's what we are interested in, to rename it as this is our target name, and then we'll show it just to see what's going on here. It is giving me error. Says that he cannot find this column. Of course, he cannot find this column because column name is wrong there. Now we have what we need. That was for today. Let me quickly summarize what we discussed. We discussed about date and timestamps. We started by importing PySpark to our environment. Then we imported SQL functions such as day of the month, hour, day of the year, month, year, week of the year, format number, date format, like that. Then we use those functions in our select statement to format the output as we need it. On top of that, we also use the format number to truncate or round the average closing price to two decimal places. That's all today. I will see you in next learning session. Thank you so much.